did not. Oh, no.
I'm starting to see things appear.
Okay. Maybe it's, I see us as, oh no, I'm not. Did you mention me in the thing?
I did.
It's weird.
I'm pretty sure.
Let me relaunch it. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I see him.
I got it. I'm here. I'm live. Nationwide. All right.
It's on your side.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Watch me and Shannon Jean. Watch me and Dave Hamilton. Perfect. Okay. If you're just joining us on live stream, thank you very much. We're going to record a couple of episodes of Business Brain today. Our Wednesday show, which we're going to talk about fear and fever. And then our
fear
Friday
and fever.
Yeah, not necessarily related and not in that order, but we're going to.
But it's going to be discussed. Yeah.
We're going to talk about it, and then our Friday AI episode, we're talking AI, and I'm going to talk about my initial experiences with Replit, and then we have some ChatGPT, a couple things. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, Replit. I want to learn about this. So yeah,
Dude.
I'm excited. Okay, great. Yeah. That's yep. Okay, good.
Yeah. You'll be able to do far more with it than I can, I think, because you understand programming more.
Sure.
Because I have zero understanding.
Yeah. Well, there is like the programming assistants that I have used.
Yeah.
Are like insanely valuable from my perspective as someone that knows not just how to code but how to read code and how to understand
this will.
And I
have
like
the go ahead.
No, I was going to say we'll talk about it in the show.
We'll talk about the show. Let's do it. Because the use case was crazy.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's worked out great. Yes. Okay. I'm ready to record.
Yeah,
if you are ready to record.
Oh, did I upload our ads? No, I sure didn't. I made them.
Oh, the ads. Okay, good. So
I made the ads. I just didn't upload the ads.
Who are our sponsors this week?
Square. And of course, Eversight.
Fantastic.
So we'll do it in the same.
Back,
we'll do it in the same order, and I'll hand it to you after the thing.
I'm gonna make a comment about them.
Great.
In my there we go. Where is it? Profile. I'm gonna call out the sponsors. Quote. Thanks to.
Why is this taking so long?
SQA.
Because all right, look, Square. That worked, right? You heard me say because. Okay,
yeah.
Great.
I wonder what Square's X handle is.
That's a good question. I always just click on their website link
that's a good idea.
In the show notes.
Smart.
Well, it's. I mean, yes, but I've also like wasted time.
Yeah.
It is at Square.
It is.
Yes.
All right. At Square?
No, they don't have an account. They must have canceled their account.
Square Support has one, so I'm going to call them out.
Is that the same?
Yeah, it's got their logo. I think. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is that them?
Live help when you need it. Yeah. That's them.
At Joe.
Oh wait, and now I see Square.
Oh, you do?
How did I get this wrong? It's at Square. What did I do wrong?
Well, when I did it at Square, it came up Square Enix. But no, Square. There it is.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
It's weird. It came up blank the first time.
For sponsoring.
When I linked from their website. Oh, because it launched the old Twitter app. That's the problem. And that doesn't work anymore. So I would have gotten the same result with everything.
All right. I just did the call out. Perfect. Okay.
I deleted the old Twitter app.
Yeah. The new one's just okay too, but
the new one's much worse than the old one. But at least it works. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm ready whenever you are. Are you guys ready? 130 of you, 132. I'm just going to sit here the whole time and call out the numbers like that.
Oh, that sounds great. I'm going to love that today. Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. 137, Dave, 138.
I was thinking I was going to have to use my mute button because I'm a little tight in the chest from this sickness and I might cough a little bit. However, I might need to also use your mute button.
Wouldn't be the first time.
It's true.
All right. Let's do it.
Here we go. Yes, that's Business Brain, episode 662 for Wednesday, July 2nd, World UFO Day 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take a few topics, sometimes timely, sometimes timeless. We analyze them, we dissect them, we use them to tune our business brains every single time we get together. Our sponsors for today's episode are eversight.com/BB, where you can get your own in-house web team for just $3.99 a month. And our sponsor, Square, at square.com/go/brain. Of course, you can just come to the show notes at Business Brain to get that link. But at that link, you get up to $200 off Square hardware when you sign up. So,
Nice.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a little bit. For now, here, I believe, in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
I am still out in Northern California. I'm Shannon Jean. I'm happy to be here. I love doing this show, man.
Same.
It's and I know you love it because even when you're not feeling great, you still show up. It's not.
Yes.
I don't get a message that says, "Hey, man, I'm really down. Let's do this." You taught me the power of consistency in the podcast, and so I'm sorry you're not feeling great, but
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah, and thank you for saying that. So we record this show on Monday afternoons. So starting on Wednesday and certainly Thursday, I had like headache and like upper back and neck aches that were sort of unexplainable. And then on Thursday, I kind of leaned against Lisa, my wife, and she was like, "Dude, you got to take your temperature." Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
And it was like, "Oh, okay." And I did, and it was like 102 or something. And it was like, oh, that's bad. I normally run at like 95, 96, maybe 97. So that's hot. 102 is hot for anybody. But, 98 would have also given me a question. And but it was not 98.
Your body's fighting something.
Fighting something. And so I was like, okay, well, whatever. I was at some concerts the previous weekend. I played a show that previous weekend. I'm like, all right, I got some kind of Wookiee flu from Fish concerts. Like, it's certainly not the first time this story's been told.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, fine, whatever. And then, as I was taking like Tylenol and Advil off cycle from each other just to kind of keep it managed, and it did. Friday went okay. But even like Thursday, I slept in, which is atypical for me on like what I would call a work day, and then took a 90-minute nap. Like I was definitely,
unusual.
That's unusual. Yeah. As I said to my family, I'm like, this is atypical. But, I still kind of managed to get stuff done. And Saturday, all day, my temperature was like, below 98. It was like, great. Okay, I've kicked this thing. And then Sunday night, it was like, wait, this is much worse than it's been. What's going on? And it was back up to like 101 and change or something. And so, and the same today. And I've been like, on and off sleeping all day, in between like fits and starts of work. It's just unusual for me to be this low energy. And and so I am going to see my doctor in the morning. We don't know what this is, and it would be good to try and like put a finger on it because it's weird. I'm not nauseous. I'm not like, I don't have a runny nose. There's none of those kind of symptoms. So who knows what it could be? There's a whole laundry list of things. Yeah. It could be an ear infection.
Sure.
It could be Lyme disease, which I've had before, but doesn't whatever.
Yeah. How's it impacted your work schedule?
Well, that's the thing is it's really hard to get out of bed in the morning when you wake up and you've got a splitting headache. Yeah. And that splitting headache is pretty much there 24/7 for me.
That sucks.
And that's the part that after, 5, whatever it is, days now is like, okay, like I don't know that, like how much longer can I do this? Like this is maddening. And so, as I said, I've been kind of taking care of myself and as best I can and getting rest when my body tells me now is nap time, Dave. But I've also been hyper aware of my productivity because there are things that need to get done. There are people relying on me for things. Everyone, as you would expect, is fully understanding of the whole, you're sick. Like this is what happens. Yeah. But still, I know that this stuff needs to get done. And, I've got a team that we're in I don't want to say a rebuilding year at Backbeat, but we're doing some new things that are not yet sort of baked into our corporate vibe. And so I'm finding that I need to be sort of driving some of these things somewhat relentlessly.
Manual systems kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yep.
I see. Yeah.
Just like, okay, don't forget to do this. And like I made more Loom videos in the last 4 months than ever before. Yeah. But it's great. Like it's showing people, okay, here's how we're doing this because we're trying to grow and we are growing. But I know that in order to grow, we looked last year at, okay, where would our pain points be if we doubled the number of podcasts that we represented for their ad sales here at Backbeat?
Sure.
It's like, okay, so we identified at least the ones that we could predict would be our internal pain points. There are always some that come up. It's like, oh, I didn't expect this. But, and a lot of those are changing our habits and changing our systems. And so when I see, one of our people here doing things the old way, I'll call it the lazy way, even though I came up with it, but like the things that worked when we had, 40 shows aren't going to work when we have 100 and really don't even work when we have 60 or 65. Like you can't just do things, willy nilly.
Right.
There's a system in place for a reason, and not everybody thinks like we do, Shannon. And, they said, well, this worked for 15 years. Why would I change? It's like, well, I have an answer to that. Are you open to hearing it, for example? That kind of thing. And it's not that people are ignorantly change resistant. It's that people are people
human nature.
Are change resistant. Right.
Yeah,
it's just human nature. So I'm needing to kind of keep my hand on the rudder more than I normally would feel the need to if I were sick for a week, that kind of thing. But yeah, this sickness it's really interesting from the standpoint of look at all it takes to take me off my game. And I say this, and I know there are people that suffer longer and deeper than I currently am, but it's just a headache. Like that's the issue. If like a fever, whatever. Like I can live with a fever, but it's that splitting headache that kind of
is clearly I think it's also it's good that these kinds of things help identify weaknesses in the system so you look at it and go, wow, man, this doesn't happen unless I'm involved, and little things like that because like I'm building new systems. I'm in Loom like every day. There's no way around it. Trying to show you this and this is how we do it. This is how that.
I did two today with a fever because somebody asked a question. And I'm like, it's really not that difficult. Here you go.
Yeah. But that's so very smart of you to use an app like Loom to create it so that you can share it or they can share it with anybody and it comes into your library of SOPs. And this is, that they should go search there before they reach out to Dave, right?
Yes.
And that's the whole concept. But people are inherently, they lean towards asking questions instead of doing research.
Yes.
So you have to kind of adjust that as well.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm finding something that I used. Oh man, this has got to be 20 years ago. Maybe 18 years ago, but probably. And when I was taking my first vacation where I was going to be detaching, we were going on a cruise with the kids. Okay. There was no cell service on the ships at that time, and I didn't really want it. I wanted to try and be present with my family. It was an experiment for me at the time too. We had started the business, 8 years prior or whatever, and it was like, well, let's see. And so I remember sitting down with Jeff on our team, who's still on our team, and he's like, well, what am I going to do if something that I don't know how to solve comes up? And I said, okay, Jeff, what happened last week when something came up and you brought it to me? Well, what did I say after you asked? He said, well, you asked me, what would I do? And I asked him, what does your gut tell you to do? Like, what's the right thing? And he told me, and I said, great, do that. And he was like, oh, interesting. He's like, is it like that's really it? I'm like, yeah. Do you want me to record my side of that conversation so you can play those answers back?
That's it.
That's it. Like, you're here. I trust you. Are you going to make exactly the same decisions that I would? No.
Of course not. But you don't have the expectation that they're going to make that exact same decision.
Correct.
And you didn't hire them to make the exact same decision.
No.
You hired them to make a decision.
That's the key. And am I going to come back and see a decision that somebody made potentially, and then say, "Oh man, that was not the right thing to do"? Maybe,
Well,
like, I might, but
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
could
going to
critique-
scream and
you could
right.
critique the decision and a learning moment from it. But the last thing you're going to do as a good leader is be upset that they made a decision.
No, I would be upset if I found out that
Yes.
something came in on Monday right after I
did
left,
anything with it.
and
Yeah.
everybody waited until a week later to get my feedback on it. It's like, that's what I'm going to yell at you about.
But
like
you have
that,
to teach. You have to
You have to teach that. Oh yeah.
that
They
is
knew
just-
that going in, right? Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So
Yeah. It's systems, automation, and SOPs, man, is a game changer if you embrace that. And now there's more tools than ever to do it.
To do it, yeah, I know it's so much easier than it was 20 years ago, but it's the same vibe for sure.
Yep.
All right,
Awesome.
we have a conversation about fear that we want to have, and the next thing that we want to do is talk about our sponsors. Because, all right, look, Square, our sponsor, isn't just for the business owners using it. It's for all of us trying to live that charmed life and move through our days without friction. Just recently, I grabbed Thai food with my daughter at Bomay here in Durham, paid with Square, seamless. Then, I got this fever, I got to cool off. Cowlick's Dairy Bar, tap, done, ice cream in hand before the brain freeze hit. And of course, no summer's complete without Tideline Public House, where I grab a beer inside, then hit Tim's Drunken Sauces and Rubs out back for barbecue magic. Square powers it all. It's easy to use, flexible for any kind of business, and intuitive from the jump. No long manuals, no tech guy required, just smooth sailing and smart tools that grow with you. Inventory, payroll, loyalty programs, they've got it all. Square keeps up so you don't have to slow down. Get everything you need to run and grow your business without any long-term commitments. And why wait? Right now, you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/brain. That's SQUARE.com/go/brain. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today. And our thanks to Square for sponsoring this episode. And you ever try to build a business website and wind up accidentally launching a slow motion dumpster fire? Yep, been there. That's why I love telling you about our sponsor, Eversight. For just $3.99 a month, you get your own dedicated web team. No $10,000 upfront fees, no long-term contracts, and absolutely no, sorry, your ticket system is down, excuses. Eversight actually picks up the phone. They reply to texts, and if something breaks, they fix it before you even knew it was broken. They proactively manage hundreds of business sites, so you can finally stop duct taping your digital presence and focus on growing your business like the entrepreneur you are. This is how we live the charmed life, folks, by surrounding ourselves with teams that actually deliver. And Shannon, you are not just a podcaster who is sponsored by Eversight. You are a customer of theirs.
Yeah, they're incredible. Like you mentioned the team thing. Just last week, I'm like, hey guys, how do I need to set up a redirect because I want to do this to my mastermind or whatever. How do I do it? Is there a form? But I should have known, but I don't pay attention to that stuff as much. And they're like, no, just give us what do you want? I just wanted to do this. And literally like 20 minutes later, like, okay, it works.
It's all set.
Yeah. And I can't tell you how valuable. I don't have to go do it in the domain console.
You don't have to learn how to do it.
Yeah. So it is incredible what they offer, the value for the price point, and it's just really, really good people. I've been really happy.
That's amazing. You can go sign up and check it out at eversight.com/BB, and that way they know we sent you, and that's good for all of us. So again, eversight.com/BB, and our thanks to Eversight for sponsoring this episode. Are we still talking about fear next, Shannon?
I do. I want to talk about fear, just one aspect of it. One of the things we were talking about decision making and, for your employees, and you want them to make a decision even if it's not the right one. And I came across a quote over the weekend that, the main source of fear in our lives is the fear of the unknown. And I think it's like, I really think that's true. The fear of, is this going to work? Am I putting what risk I'm taking? Will I be embarrassed? But it's all just because you don't know how it's going to work out.
Right.
And,
you don't get to know. You get to predict based on information that you have and history and experience, all of that, which is great. But you don't get to know until you know.
Yeah. And I think the key when I'm looking back on all decisions that I've made and the risks and all this kind of stuff, and certainly I've had fear, I have a massive fear of failure that drives me a lot. But I think I've conditioned my brain to just, that unknown is just part of it. So I'm not afraid of it. I'm more curious about it. Like, will this work? We're going to talk about apps, making apps on our Friday AI show on Friday, which you should definitely tune into. And it's like, okay, I started messing around with this thing. It's like, am I going to I don't even know how it's going to work. I'm going to waste some time or whatever, but I'm curious. I'm not afraid.
I gotta find out.
Yeah, I'm going to find out. And okay, I'm going to start. It's just like when we started, hey, we should do video. And my kids are like, Dad, you guys got to do the video podcast. I was like, nobody wants to watch us. And I don't really feel comfortable being in front of the camera. And I realized it was fear of the unknown. Maybe nobody will want to, maybe I was right.
Yeah.
Nobody would watch us. So I think just, I posted about this morning, it's like you have to program your meat computer to know that, yes, the unknowns are welcome. It's okay. It's because the rewards can be fantastic. Often they're not going to be very good. Right. And
right.
This is normal too.
Yep.
But if you start to get afraid of taking a risk or trying something new, oftentimes I have this thing where I'm chasing too many shiny objects.
What? I never would. Oh, that's so unpredictable.
But the more I get a lot of stuff going on and balls in the air, and some of them work and some of them don't, I just like, it's all right. I'm going to chase it. What my time is my own. I can allocate it the way I need it, and I'm just not going to be afraid of that. I'm just not going to be worried about it, and I'm going to get more comfortable. I've gotten more comfortable over the years experimenting and framing things as an experiment, which gives me kind of a side.
It's an out.
It's an out. If it goes to hell, when somebody says, "Hey, how'd that thing go?" and like, it was a good experiment. I learned X, Y, Z, but it never took off.
I didn't make any money from it. Okay,
yeah,
great.
And so, but I learned this and I did that, and
love that.
Yeah, so just keep telling yourself that the unknowns is normal. You just work through it. Okay, well, how do I get through that? What's
I think feeding your curiosity and prioritizing your curiosity is a way to short circuit fear. Because that's what you're saying. I'm just trying to crystallize it a little bit here.
Right. Yeah.
But short circuiting your fear by leaning in and embracing your curiosity, I think is a great thing. You said something last week that I pre-show or post-show. You said failure gives you data, fear gives you excuses.
Yep.
And there you go.
Yeah.
And that's just a way of a brain hack. That's all that is.
That's right. It's like you're going to learn something. And like I use this example. I tried to start a software business years ago, way before it was.
I remember.
Yeah. And I put a significant amount of money into it. And it all went in the toilet. It didn't really work. And I learned a lot about one of the most important parts of, an app or a service or whatever that I never even thought much about was like customer service. That's just
Go figure.
Huge part of it that if you don't have set up right, you will fail miserably. But not only did I learn a lot, but it led me to write a best-selling book, right?
There you go.
Not about the experience, but I had all this content that I was creating for this software, and I was like, well, now what do I do with it? And so I'm going to take it. I've always wanted to write a book. You and I hired coaches.
Yep.
A coach when we wanted to write a book. We
Yep.
both learned a lot, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to do it. So, getting comfortable with that is a game changer, I think. It has been for me.
You said that you have a fear of failure, and I know we've had this conversation on the show before. I would like to offer a correction, which you're welcome to refute. I don't think you have a fear of failure. I think, like me, you have a fear of being perceived as a failure.
Yeah. Yes.
And those are two very different things.
Yeah. I also, yes, it's a very good, that's good nuance to it. I also have this fear of inaction. Like, for better or worse, I wake up and I'm like, okay, boom,
I gotta go.
Let's go. I've got this, and this, and this. Yeah. And I never feel better than when I have a full calendar and a full list of projects. Yeah. And I really don't ever want to wake up and be like, I have nothing to do today. That would be a horror, horror for me. So, so you get, you figure out what works for you. You frame it the way you want. How do you deal with fear? Let us know so we can talk about it. Feedback@businessbrain.show. It's we love talking about this stuff, but it's your show too. And share your story.
Please do. And also share your reviews, businessbrain.show/review. We love getting reviews from you. And we've got a couple to talk about in the next episode. They get entered into a drawing to win a MacBook this year. So
do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you on Friday. All right, great. And awesome. We're now Between the Ferns.
Between the Ferns. Yeah, God, that was such a great show. Zach Galifianakis, however you pronounce his name. Only he could pull that off.
He was the only one. Yeah.
If you're on the live stream and you've never watched Between the Ferns, go look it up on YouTube and you just watch the clips.
Yeah, the clips are like the whole show is just a series of things.
It's probably that there's that they call it cringe comedy or something like that. It's cringy, right? It's very cringy, and you're just like, oh, did he really just say that to that person? And it's definitely worth watching.
And the answer is yes, he did. He did. If you thought he did, he did.
And that's why it's so funny. Because it's not something a normal person would say because you're trying to be polite or whatever. And, so, hey, if you're in one of the 500 or so people on the live stream, we're in between episodes. So Dave is pushing buttons, spinning knobs, getting that last episode ready for post-production, which we do really quick. And it's going to be ready for me to kind of play around with after the show, after Friday and then that episode's going to post on Wednesday, and then our Friday was going to be on the 4th of July.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
Yes.
I am looking forward to that. Always a good day. And we have a guest. We have an interview next week, I think.
Really?
We do.
I believe that. Yeah, because we're doing like 2 weeks worth of episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Hancock he's the mattress guy on X.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good young guy that's is in the mattress business. Selling mattresses got to be fascinating. So we're going to learn about his.
Yeah. My guess is that the margins on mattresses are huge.
That's his opportunity, right?
Yes,
like Jeff Bezos said, your margin is my opportunity. That's definitely because, I don't know if the last time you bought a mattress, but that's crazy if you go into any one of those stores.
Yeah. I've only done the online mattress thing for the last 20 years. Yeah. Well, because I'm a podcaster, Shannon, and so they all advertise with. It's a great like direct to consumer for mattresses when you get the same margins or even half if you choose to cut your margin in half. You're not paying for inventory in a showroom and salespeople, like all of that stuff. You're just paying for a warehouse. And a delivery system that allows people to get the mattress from their front door into their bedroom easily. Yes. And then you're good to go. And those Casper mattresses I've had the Casper and the purple. Yeah, and one other Helix. I think a Helix hybrid is what I'm on right now. I mean, I love that.
That's cool.
That's been my favorite. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I remember I bought the last high-end mattress, quote, high-end mattress that we bought. The guy made the mistake of telling me, it takes 14 hours to make this. And I said, And how much are we paying? It's like, dude, that's not a good correlation.
It's not. Don't start there. We had a mattress delivered old school style to our house maybe 25 years ago. And, the people came in. Yeah. It was raining this day. They took our old mattress out, leaned it against the truck. Fine. Brought our new mattress in, unpacked it. We looked at it and we're like, this isn't the right mattress. And we're like, they're like, yes, it is. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not the professional here, but I'm pretty darn sure I know what we picked. So let's go back to the sales slip and let's look. And they're like, oh my God, they put the wrong mattress on the truck. And I'm like, okay, what time today can you be out here?
Because my other mattress is leaning on the side of the truck in the rain.
I cannot use the mattress that I used last night because you made the decision to put that outside before you let me confirm that this was right. And they're like, well, we have to take this mattress back today. I'm like, that's fine. No problem. I go to sleep at about midnight. So you've got, 10 plus hours here.
Yeah.
To remedy this. They're like, we don't have that. We can't get it out here today. The soonest is going to be 4 days away. I'm like, well, then this one stays here.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I'll call you tomorrow and let you know if I like this one better than the one you're going to bring me.
That sounds very reasonable.
And if I do, then all of our problems are solved.
Yes.
But I told them, I'm like, I'm pretty sure the answer is don't get your hopes up on this. But I will be realistic about it. I'm going to get the opportunity to sleep on it now. They had to call every manager, obviously, of course, and we did not like that mattress. It was fine, but it was not what we wanted. Sure. I was like, no, you're going to need to come out and you can do whatever you want with this one. It's like, well, we use it in your showroom.
Yeah, there you go.
It's fine. People are laying on these things all the time in your showroom.
Yep.
Don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
That's very funny.
This is a you problem.
Oh yeah, I've had that. I could tell my lazy boy couch story sometimes.
Oh
yeah.
That
one. Yeah, how LinkedIn saved my life in that couch. So
that's great.
Yeah, we'll tell that sometime.
All right, great. I'm ready to rock here.
Great.
If you are,
I'm ready to go too.
Okie dokie. Here goes utterly nothing.
Perfect.
Business Brain, episode 663 for Casual Friday, July 4th, Alice in Wonderland Day, and also Independence Day here in the U.S., 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take several ideas, we crunch them, we dissect them, we use them to best tune our business brains individually and collectively every single time we get together so that we all have a great opportunity to lead that charmed life. Sponsors for this episode include eversight.com/BB, where you can go to get started today of getting your own in-house web team for just $3.99 a month, and square.com/go/brain, where you get $200 off of Square hardware when you sign up. We've all seen it at merchants, and you can have it for your business too. We'll talk more about both of those in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm still Dave Hamilton.
Hey, I'm still Shannon Jean. I'm still in Northern California. I'm still living a charmed life.
Love that.
And happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. Happy Alice in Wonderland Day. I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Kind of makes sense, right?
I love that. Yeah.
Me too.
Alice in Wonderland was a pivotal movie of my childhood. My parents would actually, I didn't know where it came from at the time, but we would occasionally celebrate our unbirthdays as kids.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. And, when I saw the movie later, I'm like, this is where this came from? What kind of parents do I have?
Yes. Good ones. Creative.
But it was like, the three kids, we had birthdays in the fall. And there was one year where our parents wanted to get us bikes in the spring because, it was like, that's
sense.
when you're going to ride them.
Yeah.
And so it was a surprise unbirthday party for everyone. And it was we had cake and the whole thing. Nice. It was like, I love this. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, me too. So, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Today is actually my unbirthday, Shannon.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's your unbirthday too.
Unbirthday too.
Yes,
you get to choose.
Yeah, you get one birthday a year, but you get 364 unbirthdays every year.
I like that.
Yeah. So happy unbirthday, everyone who is not celebrating a birthday.
Yes, that's awesome. What are we talking about today? What do we got going on?
I am guessing, And
Yes.
it's just odds. There's no data that I actually have about this. But I am guessing that the person who identifies themselves on Apple Podcasts as We Are PID is also celebrating their unbirthday today. And we will celebrate with you by sharing your review, which is 5 stars, a must listen for anyone with a growth mindset. Business Brain is easily one of my favorite podcasts and one of the few where I listen to every single episode. This one, not just the ones that match my current interests. Each episode delivers a mix of practical tips, thought-provoking insights, and motivational quotes that keep my mindset sharp and inspired. Even though I work in education rather than running my own business, I find immense value in keeping an entrepreneurial mindset at work.
Oh, that's good.
That's really interesting. And this podcast feeds that part of me every week. What I appreciate most is the show isn't just for business owners. Anyone can benefit from the wisdom, strategies, and fresh perspectives shared. It's consistently full of food for thought that I often share with colleagues and friends. Since incorporating AI into my own workflow, I've found the Friday AI episodes especially valuable. Yeah, we hear this a lot, as you know. They provide clear, practical ways to think about and use AI in daily work. If you're looking for a podcast that will energize your brain, spark ideas, and equip you with insights you can immediately use, do yourself a favor and subscribe to Business Brain. Highly recommended. I know.
That's a great review. I need to go screenshot some of those reviews and start putting them up on my feed like I suggest everybody else do.
Oh, yeah.
I need to go do that. Yeah, that was great. Thank you very much. Be sure to email us, feedback@businessbrain.show, so we can get your email address so you can be entered to win the MacBook that we're giving away.
Yep. Yes, exactly. And if you want to leave a review, of course, businessbrain.show/review. We have one other that left a review on Podchaser. Their handle is First in the Race, 5 stars. I found this podcast from another project of host Shannon Jean. He is just as great here as he is in the $5 Mastermind and his numerous appearances on the Corner Office podcast. Here you truly will tune your business brain. The Friday Eye segments are very actionable and set this show apart. So again, thank you and happy unbirthday to you, or happy birthday, whatever it turns out to be.
And another mention of, I don't know that we've had a review lately that did not mention the Friday Eye.
I know.
And you were right. You're like, this is going to be crazy popular. I'm like, okay, we'll see.
I even registered some Friday Eye domains because I'm like, a year from now, this might just be the Friday Eye show. I don't know.
You never know.
We've evolved the show many times.
Could be Monday Eye, Tuesday Eye, Wednesday Eye. You just don't know. And that's the key thing is the experiments with this show, because hopefully it keeps it interesting for our listeners, but it also keeps it interesting for us. I don't want to be doing the same show that I was doing 11 years ago. And we want to introduce, it wasn't even called Business Brain anymore. Or back then it was a small business show. And,
it was the DBA podcast for the
that
first.
Was in the beginning.
Then we got a bunch of people that were pissed that we weren't database administrators.
Yes.
It's like, that checks out. Good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. But that's awesome. But the reviews really help move us up the charts so we can get more people in here, and that's a great way to say thank you. So we appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, folks. I know we want to talk about some AI things here too. I want to have a short conversation about the Chat GPT desktop app, Shannon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've started using it. Yep. And one thing, if you are just using Chat GPT on the web, one thing that you are missing out on is that the Chat GPT app can integrate with other apps on your computer.
Oh.
And so if I have a file open in Apple Notes, for example, I can let Chat GPT see that file.
How do you let it see that?
If you're in the Chat GPT app, at the bottom, there are 5 little icons right below where it says Ask Anything.
Yeah.
The leftmost one is a plus sign.
Work with apps. That's sweet.
Correct. Just float over them. The leftmost one is the plus sign that lets you attach content. Then you've got search the web.
Yeah,
and then you've got deep research, which is a whole other thing to use. But working with apps, it's not, I've used it for coding, where I let it see my coding editor, and it's fine, but it can't make changes to your code. It can propose changes that you then have to make. That's but great. It can't make them, which GitHub's VS Code with Copilot can actually, it'll tell you, I think you should do this, and you look through it and you're like, yeah, go ahead and do that. And then it will make, like, it will just edit your code for you and show you the changes and all that stuff. So it's not quite that. It's a one-way thing with the ChatGPT app, but it works with way more apps than I would think. Like, I need to just force myself to keep using it, because it works with more things than I ever expected. So I highly recommend that. Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah. All right, we have your Replit. Speaking of apps,
this is mind blowing
to talk about here. So I want to do that. The next thing that I want to do, though, is talk about our sponsors, because, all right, look, Square, our sponsor, isn't just for the business owners using it. It's for all of us trying to live that charmed life and move through our days without friction. Just recently, I grabbed Thai food with my daughter at Bomay here in Durham, paid with Square, seamless. Then, I got this fever, I got to cool off. Cowlick's Dairy Bar, tap, done, ice cream in hand before the brain freeze hit. And of course, no summer's complete without Tideline Public House, where I grab a beer inside, then hit Tim's Drunken Sauces and Rubs out back for barbecue magic. Square powers it all. It's easy to use, flexible for any kind of business, and intuitive from the jump. No long manuals, no tech guy required, just smooth sailing and smart tools that grow with you. Inventory, payroll, loyalty programs, they've got it all. Square keeps up so you don't have to slow down. Get everything you need to run and grow your business without any long-term commitments. And why wait? Right now, you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/brain. That's SQUARE.com/go/brain. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today. And our thanks to Square for sponsoring this episode. And you ever try to build a business website and wind up accidentally launching a slow motion dumpster fire? Yep, been there. That's why I love telling you about our sponsor, Eversight. For just $3.99 a month, you get your own dedicated web team. No $10,000 upfront fees, no long-term contracts, and absolutely no, sorry, our ticket system is down, excuses. Eversight actually picks up the phone. They reply to texts, and if something breaks, they fix it before you even knew it was broken. They proactively manage hundreds of business sites, so you can finally stop duct taping your digital presence and focus on growing your business like the entrepreneur you are. This is how we live the charmed life, folks, by surrounding ourselves with teams that actually deliver. You're living that charmed life, Shannon, by being a customer of Eversight, yeah?
Yeah. I've managed forever my sites on my own, but then I got hacked. I wasn't paying close enough attention to updates and all this kind of stuff that I don't have time for that. That stuff like that meme is. Nobody's got time for that. Yep. But so, I got into a bad situation. Like I said, a site got hacked, a bunch of stuff got put on my server. I didn't know anything. And they just came in and rescued me over a weekend, no less.
Amazing.
And got, temporary pages up and running, redirects working. It's amazing. You'd love to find good people like this.
Indeed. And you can find those good people when you visit eversite.com/BB, EVERSITE.com/BB. You can get started today. And our thanks to Eversight for sponsoring this episode. All right, tell me,
yes.
man.
Okay. Let's talk about Replit. So Replit is like you might have heard. I gotta find it here. You might have heard, this term vibe coding.
Yeah,
right? Where you can basically you get into the AI and it works with you, and you just describe what you want, what you need. And here's my use case. Like I've followed these things, but like I mentioned, I sometimes get crazy following like shiny objects. So I haven't jumped into this space yet. So I need to build this thing, essentially a dashboard for my for a couple of businesses that I have. I want to just track. I don't need a huge accounting package. I don't want to pay somebody to enter data. I want to just track income and expenses. That's all.
Easy.
Where it's coming from. Easy, right? No
sure.
problem.
Yeah.
Yes, very easy. However, Dave, here's how I want to do it. I want to be able to forward an email, and I want the data extracted from the email. Okay.
So you want if you're familiar with the service TripIt for travel data, you just forward emails to TripIt. It parses through, it pulls out your plane reservations, your hotel, your rental cars, all the stuff, and then it populates its own database with whatever that data looks like. Okay, so you want this for your business, your simple business accounting.
It's just, and I'll but I also want it to categorize and all this kind of stuff that I can export to my larger accounting package at some point, right? So I could go, I've been tracking. I don't want to keep track. I'm not a good accounting person. I'm my accountant's nightmare. So when I get emails or they come into an account that from certain sources, income, expenses, here's payments, this, I just wanted to auto cap direct to this app, and I couldn't find anything, of course.
Obviously.
So I went to Replit. And what is it? Is it replit.com?
replit.com. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I sat there and I described, just like I had this conversation with you to the AI. And I said, hey, is this possible? And of course, the AI said, absolutely, Shannon. This is totally possible. Because it lies, right? It lies.
Well, and sometimes it lies, but
but what I was impressed with is it kind of brought me along. I've never written a line of code in my life. So it queried me and started asking me questions. And it's like, okay, well, what about this? And what about that? And what happens if X happens? And what do I do with Y? And it was great because it kind of quizzed me and brought me along and asked me questions that I had not anticipated. Okay.
Sure.
And it created this app, this web app. I shared a screenshot with you, Dave, if you want to share it on. If you're watching the live stream or a repeat of this up on YouTube, you can go look at this. I haven't named it yet. It's called Financial Dashboard. And it created this page, this app, however you want to call it, and it works. Let me tell you, it works. And it created this kind of test environment where it first said, hey, look, I get what you want to do. I'm going to tell you how to automate the email part of it, but let's create the app and let's do the testing with you cutting and pasting the content of an email directly in the app.
Okay, cut out the one layer of potential friction and problems. That's really smart.
Which again,
that's how I would develop it. Yeah,
I don't know these things. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, great. Oh, whatever.
Right.
We walked in. It gave me the whole thing, and it had to iterate a bunch of times because it was like, oh, okay, try it now, and I'd try it now to like, did it work? And I'd say no, it didn't work, and it says this. But then it could go back and say, oh, I see where the problem is. Yeah. And it would do a thing and it would republish the app. And then it would come back and say, try it again. So I worked with it for about 40 minutes.
Okay.
To make that screenshot. And it works. I can cut and paste it in there.
Yeah.
And then it gave me all the instructions how to automate the email. There is another service that it suggested I use.
Okay. Yep.
It told me how to use Google Workspace to monitor for this type of thing, so you could route it to them.
Yes.
And that is the next step. And
sure, of course. Yeah.
And I was blown away that it could create this thing that's going to make my life way easier because I could just send this email. And you can make as many apps as you want. It's $20 a month. So I look and like, because my assistant is my executive assistant. She's always asking me, can we get this service? Oh, I need a service because I want to create this. Yeah. I want to create that. And I was like, well, maybe I can create this stuff. And again, I'm not trying to sell it.
Right. You're just trying to save yourself from paying $85 a month times 8 services.
And just even to get it to work. I don't know of it. Now, maybe you know of a service that you can forward an email to, and it'll parse out data. It'll save an income or expense category. It'll capture the category, the dollar amount, and the vendor, and put it up in a dashboard. Maybe you know of that. If you do, send it feedback at businessbrain.show.
I don't know of it, but maybe somebody out there does. Yeah, but
certainly could.
That sounds like a realistic service to offer.
Kind of.
For sure.
Yeah. And I'm sure they have it like, oh, we just tie into your bank account and we do this and we do that. But
Sure.
charge, because I want the points, all these services go on my credit card. So,
Of course.
I'm sure there's ways around it. But anyway, I just thought for a programming person, entrepreneur person that's just needs this kind of thing, I'm going to use this thing for all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
Now I feel like I could replace my, I have a database that I use that I've been struggling to create kind of a light version of this database without having to buy an expensive app to run it. And I've been like, man, I've been trying to do it in a few other services and I just haven't been able to get it to work. And I think I might be able to get it to work with this. So it's going to be interesting to see. I recommend, if you've played around with it, replit.com, REPLIT, come tell me what else I can do with it and let me know.
That sounds amazing. I love this. Yep. Because it's the next level of vibe coding. Right? The first wave of vibe coding was it's going to write the code for you, and then you kind of need to know what to do with it, or at least be willing to learn from it how to go implement it.
Yeah, it was like, okay, well, here's how we're going to deploy it. Like, that's the one thing I've like, how do I even use this?
What does that mean?
But they do it for you. Right. And there's other plans. If you're going to sell it or get people to subscribe to it, they charge you more and all that kind of stuff, of course. But yeah, I'm excited about it, man. Amazing. I think it's great. Yep. Good
amazing
stuff.
That really is good stuff. And as someone who has built countless things that I only ever use for myself, I highly encourage you, once you get this thing working for you, that you put the extra 10% of polish on it and market it, because there's another business owner. There's 50 other business owners just like you that will pay for this.
Oh, and no, I'm going to play around.
I mean, I tell the story about how I developed a content management system from scratch. Didn't have any vibe coding, but I had to learn PHP sometime, so that was the day I did. Yeah. And it never even dawned on me to sell this to other people. And and then Matt Mullenweg came out and put WordPress out, and now he lives on a private island. Yeah. And it's like, obviously. Obviously. I wasn't the only one that needed this. Duh.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have a great Independence Day, everyone listening. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Feedback at businessbrain.show, and go check out businessbrain.show/review to leave your review and get entered to win a MacBook. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll see you on Wednesday.
See ya.
And we're out.
Awesome. If you're watching the live stream, thanks for hanging out. If you know anything about anything that we talked about, we'd love to hear from you. If you're on X or Facebook or LinkedIn or anywhere, reach out. You can find us up there, or feedback at businessbrain.show. Have a great and profitable week. And I'm going to end it now. See ya.
Later.